Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Discipline Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, DL Discipline, alongside me is Suhey Sotomayor. Um, episode 166. Before we get into the topic, how you feeling?
I'm feeling kind of cold, but okay. How are you feeling?
Yeah?
I like the gear.
Yeah? I'm gonna tell what's name to put the heat up.
No, I have my turtleneck on. If he puts the heat up, I'm gonna die.
Alright.
I'm good. I'm just gonna thug it out.
Move around. You know, I'm animated when I talk. Exercise.
Yeah. Well, I have my heating blanket.
Yeah. All right. So, okay. Other than that, chilling. Right. Good. Ready to go.
I'm ready.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming back. You know y'all couldn't stay away because y'all are fiends, and you know what that means. We're serving you your dose weekly of discipline therapy, where not everything is completely free. Because we're on Patreon for a plethora of exclusive content for you to see. But what is free is it's judgment free, sucker free, censor free, sensitive free. So get out your feelings, sensitive free, and some liberty. God and the ancient ancestors are great, and that means everything else is straight. So go grab your wine, popcorn, and my favorite roll of blunt. But make sure the children are in bed. Why? Because we have that soul food and sometimes vulgar conversation. Prepare your mind to be fed like one up, inhale life, and exhale strife. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you are tuned in to the Discipline Therapy Podcast. We're back.
Here.
Oh, yeah.
We're back and we're here. You see?
Yeah.
We have links in the description below how to become part of our Patreon family and subscribe for exclusive content. We have bloopers, behind the scenes, Mr. Eel Discipline's solo lectures of discipline therapy talk, his BDSM content, erotica posts and writings by Mr. Eel Discipline, his masterclass or workshop videos are uploaded there. We have some collaboration shows pertaining to sensitive topics such as sexual abuse, rape, domestic violence, transgender, child abduction, conspiracy theories, government conspiracy theories, and much, much more, along with me and Mr. Yield Discipline. Once again, how to become part of our Patreon family, it's patreon.com/the Discipline Therapy Podcast. Mr. Eel Discipline also has 7 published books that are available for sale on Amazon.com, Barnes and Nobles. We have it for electronic version as well, Kindle. I still can't remember the other one, and much, much more.
Some iTunes is for the seduction of discipline. You can stream it on iTunes.
Oh, nice. Once again, all the links are in the description below. If you are tuning in right now and you see Mr. Eel Discipline from head to toe, he is just showing off on our merch. So if you like any of that stuff, he got the hat, he got the windbreaker, he got the pants. Are we gonna unzip?
This is fire. Like, to be honest,
It's
it was
so
stop touching me. No.
I'm touching the jacket, sir.
This was like it was windy today. I didn't feel it.
It's freezing.
Alright, you know what I'm saying? Like,
They have such good quality, man.
Yeah.
Look at that. I'm gonna touch the coat again. That's some nice stuff right there. Oh, and he got the shirt. I feel sorry for anybody who's not watching the show because he's taking it off. Who got dollar bills? Dollar bills. Just kidding.
Is that what they do
At
to
the strip
men?
club?
That's what they do to men who are like good looking and nice bodies. They're like, oh, dollar bills, like a male stripper. That's what it is. Because men are not attractive physically.
Well, if they look like you, they're usually strippers. No way. Anyway,
Right.
so if you are interested, we have our.
Too.
I know. It says I don't have my glasses on. That's so sad. I can't even.
15% alpha, 20% beast, 30% king, 35% dominant, 100% God. I have this on a tank top, a hoodie, a gray hoodie.
On the back?
Front.
I think it's on the front.
Yeah. And
you got
then,
some nice stuff in that.
Now V-neck. Yeah.
So if you want to check it out, our online store for merch, it's disciplinetherapy.launchcart.store/shop.
All right.
That's it. That's all we got.
All right. Shout out to Center Stage Music Studio. Shout out to Joe. Um, Good man. Old school Italian men. I don't care what they say about them. I always had got along with them.
I get along with them
I
too.
know. I know a lot of them. I knew some mobsters. I knew some attorneys who represented them. All I know is they take care of you. Ain't no really color or anything like that. We want to talk about racism. They are people about their word. They take care of you. You take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
They about their word.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
So I like that. Yeah, been dealing with him for a long time. We've been in different places, and this is like God.
Yeah.
Finding with him, and we connected. It's what it always comes down to. We're gonna get into the topic, but when you have an abundance mindset and you're healed, you can manifest quicker, more efficient, and doors open up. So when one door closes for a reason, something great is coming.
Yep, definitely.
So we got that out the way. Season 16, episode 166. God damn, 666.
Oh, that's a good sign. That's a good look.
Don't mean the devil.
Not sure. Don't.
So, how to identify triggers and heal from trauma unresolved, part 2. Now, the first one I did was episode 139 by myself. Special guest. You weren't there. So now we're gonna do the part 2 with you being here.
Okay.
We got a couple of stuff. This is like the prominence of this podcast: accountability, healing, discipline, therapy, identifying, knowing yourself, masculine and feminine energy. Part of all of that just lumps in together. How do I identify triggers and heal from unresolved trauma? So, how do we do it?
Well, firstly, I think that your body will actually show you signs of like if something's triggering you, or something doesn't sit well with you. When you get a stomach ache, you get a headache, chills, shivers, and notice if it happens around other people or something like that. That's your body giving you those clues. Obvious. Oh, dang it! We didn't. Do it.
When you're done.
I'm done because I like to do this. We forgot to do this, so we're doing it now. My Tibetan symbols. And then there's obvious signs of mood changes that will come out when you're triggered. You could be happy, and the person that you're with, or you see something, and subconsciously it triggers you, and now all of a sudden your mood has changed. You were happy, now you're cranky, or you're sad, or something like that. So those are like the obvious signs. And how you heal. Some people like therapy and not medication, and others like medication but not the therapy. And I think whatever the case may be, it's up to that person. It's that person's responsibility to find what method works for them best. Because after, you're not responsible for the trauma that you get as a child growing up or even as a young adult, but you are responsible to heal yourself, or try to at least.
Right. So, how do I identify triggers? Right. So that's what you believe. I agree with a lot of those things, but it really comes down to what you said for people to take into account and absorb for them to realize those things. Because innately, you don't just, oh, I got a stomach ache right now. My head hurts. I'm drained. Like, I slept pretty well today. You don't know those things until, you speak to a spiritual coach or whatever, and they make you identify, oh, that's why I get a feeling. Oh, that's why I got a feeling around here when I went to this certain place around this type of person. That's what it is. Because people are just not going to naturally know these things. Mood swings, they're not gonna know. Women crying out of nowhere. I'm not even on my period. Like, what am I? They're not gonna know until they really do the research, or people are just educating about this. So, how to identify triggers? first and foremost, we're all triggered by certain circumstances we've encountered, created for ourselves, childhood trauma. Maybe some people get triggered. So first of all, let me get into it.
Mm.
The whole definitions and stuff.
Okay.
But I was gonna say some people get triggered by a weather, but then I'm gonna finish it. So triggers are just, you know, pretty much what it's like self-explanatory. It's something that occurs, whether you see, hear, feel, that brings you back to some type of trauma that you encountered, or not even. Now, these triggers inspire these certain emotions. So, for example, it doesn't even have to be a trauma. For example, triggering arousal. So a good girl, sheltered, didn't go through any trauma, but she meets a man who triggers arousal for her, and she doesn't know why. Now she feels, good, real good.
She's getting tingly.
Triggers in the with the weather. You experience something as a child, and it happened during a thunderstorm. So now every time you hear thunder, you get back into that child and you remember, and that triggers sadness. It triggers depression. It's just triggers are there, and then it's going to like trigger emotion. That's what it is. It's going to trigger emotions. So you have those triggers from certain trauma, but it's going to trigger emotions. Now, when you can identify these situations, I'm scared of thunder because of this situation when I was a kid or whatever it is. When you identify that, now you can heal from it of, okay, I'm going to have discipline. Now that I'm aware that I'm afraid of thunder because maybe I saw murder and it was thundering that day. Maybe I saw my dad abusing my mom. Whatever it is, maybe got raped. Maybe whatever happened, a pet died and I witnessed it. Never saw that before. And that's trauma. And it was thundering that day. There was thunderstorms. So now you're able to identify where that's coming from, and the discipline helps you control those emotions. So you learn to now forgive yourself for experiencing that, forgiving that such a situation. Maybe it was done to you, that person, whatever it is. And you have that. That's the part of you healing from that. Because that circumstance or natural disaster doesn't control you. It doesn't control your emotions because you're aware of it. You see what I'm saying? So, like 4th of July, them motherfuckers ain't gonna stop. They gonna be fucking going till 3 o'clock in the morning. You know what I could do? I could put some earbuds on and listen to some rainfalls. And that'll put me to sleep. You see what I'm doing with that? Because I come from an environment where there's gunshots. So I'm kind of like, oh, damn, are they shooting or are they playing with firecrackers? So that can inspire some triggering. But it's like, I can control that situation by incorporating something more positive to get me through that.
To kind of counterbalance it.
Yeah. So that's what it is. Like, I'm identifying, okay, I'm like this. I'm not going to be able to sleep because this is going to be playing in my brain. I'm identifying it. It's triggering emotions too. So now I'm finding a solution so it doesn't dominate me. I'm going to dominate it.
Also, a really great thing to put when you're trying to block that out is the Discipline Therapy podcast. Sorry, I had to put that in there. Okay.
Yeah. So healing from unresolved trauma, there are steps.
Yes.
Right? So, like, the triggers is what is going to cause the trauma. Like, they go hand in hand. So there's good triggers and there's bad triggers, just like I talked in part 1.
Okay.
So maybe the woman aroused is good trigger.
Okay.
All right. The whenever a man raises his voice, it's a bad trigger. Because when I had a boyfriend, he raised his voice and abused me. So now any guy that's raising his voice, I'm thinking in my brain misogynist. I'm thinking aggressive, violent, abuser. His voice, like, he needs to talk softer with me. His voice being raised is triggering that fucking trauma that I went through. Every time a woman will flake on a date for a guy, he gets triggered. Maybe it hasn't happened in a while, but he gets triggered, and now that makes him emotional, and now generalizing all women. Saying, damn, bitches ain't shit.
Yep.
He's generalizing all women because of that one situation that happened. He's triggered because that happened to him in the past. So he's triggered by that situation of it happening, and it's like, well, now it's making him emotional to be closed off. So now I'm not gonna trust them. Now I'm not gonna give my all because they just playing around.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that's a situation with both genders. Women go through more trauma than, well, no. Men and women go through trauma equally, but we handle it differently.
And it's not heard about as much with men.
Yeah, because they're stoic with it.
Yeah, they hold it in.
Yeah. So women carry it. Breakups, they carry it. Abuse, they carry it. And you will see it because, like, a woman who is hood to me, has an attitude, aggressive, finds it difficult to surrender, has triggers that are negative, a lot of them, and a lot of unresolved trauma.
Yeah. I think
a man who can't get in his masculine, doesn't want to provide and protect, has triggers and unresolved trauma.
I was going to say, for myself, I feel like triggers aren't, I don't necessarily think of them as good or bad. I feel like triggers are meant, they show up because they're meant to teach you. They're meant to teach you how to handle that situation or how to heal yourself from that situation. Like, as hard as it is, try not to avoid your feelings. You know what I mean? All that does, when you avoid it, like I know a couple of people who have that avoidance, issue, something crazy. Even the little slightest bit they know is going to bother them, I don't want to talk about it. That's going to put me in a bad mood. I don't want to talk about it. Don't avoid it, because all that does is push it down until the next trigger. And then you holding it, like a pressure pot, the more the pressure it is, you're about to explode. So for everybody's, sake, and this is, it's hard because people, like I said, we know, I'm sure you know a lot of people like that too. I don't want to talk about it. It's a sensitive subject. But if you don't talk through about it, 99.9% of the time, once you get it off your chest, it's like a relief. If it's something that's, worrisome or, bothersome or, triggering from abuse or something.
Yeah. So, everything going on in this world are triggers. So, for example, religion could be a trigger. Politics can be a trigger.
That's my trigger.
What we're absorbing visually are triggers, because that's how the triggers begin, from our senses.
Yep.
What we're smelling, whether it's good or bad, triggers to now leading to how we handle that situation or, whatever it is, moving forward in life. So the biggest thing about this, right? When you can identify triggers and heal from trauma, this is something you have to be aware of and do. So the triggers, be aware of and heal from the trauma. So do. I believe you should do this prior to, like going out there and teaching, going out there and leading people to the promised land, going out there to give your all in the relationship. You have to do these things first, because if you don't identify these triggers and heal for certain trauma, it's gonna revisit when you do get in a relationship. Like I've dated women that were like on their spiritual journey. They, oh, I'm healed. And then they see what I'm doing and how traditional I am because they're modern. I'm triggering them. And well, you got this bad habit. You do not making me happy. It's kind of like, wow, I really thought I was healed
Mm.
because I was better than every guy I dated, smarter than them, helped them get their shit together, brought them up, built them up, um, was able to seek out their bad habits. They never said anything wrong about me. Now you meet a guy who's up there, don't need your help in that regard. That's actually like, no, these are a lot of bad habits. It's like, whoa, I thought I was healed. You see, so those triggers revisit when you get into a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I've said this in the show prior. So, what is more triggering for you in whether it's negative or positive? A male chauvinist or a male feminist?
What's more triggering for me?
And it's triggering. It's definitely triggering. But
Um,
now the prominent um term is it negative or positive?
I think that what's more triggering for me, and obviously this is something that I continue to work on or work with, is the male chauvinist. Pues wait a second. Okay, so male chauvinist to what I have experienced and am used to, with my father, with just past experience with it, which wasn't in a positive light. That's why I picked that one. But since starting the podcast with you, you have, just like how you do with, like, even the viewers, when you explain something, you know, um, in terms where I can see it in a different light. So automatically, I would say the male chauvinist because of all the past experience. But listening to how you define it and explain it, that's helping me to not see it or to not feel it as a trigger. See, from what I said, I think in another episode, when you hang out with people or meet people that can help you elevate, they help you heal. Me meaning, discipline has helped me see male chauvinism in a different light than what I've been used to. So thank you.
Yeah, the term like seems very bad.
Negative
Not
connotation,
bad.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like we gotta try to avoid that term.
Like
Right?
submission
Yeah.
has, for vanilla people, like regular folk, that's a trigger for them, that word, especially the women.
So it's never been a trigger for you?
Submission?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Do you think traditional women trigger people today?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Trigger them in a
100%.
positive way or negative way? Because they trigger me.
I think it depends on the
But they
woman who's
trigger.
watching. So a woman who is super modern, they're gonna get triggered in the wrong way, in a
Okay.
negative way. They're gonna be like, I don't want to be, I don't want to cook and clean and do that. I want to go out and work, and I have to, it's different now. The woman who, let's say, has gone through some stuff, or just listens to your podcast and wants to learn how to be more submissive, and they see they follow one of the pages that you've recommended, now they're getting triggered, but in a more positive way. They're getting ideas on how they can be more traditional.
Yeah. So traditional women trigger me in a positive way. Um. So do you think modern people trigger people?
Do I think modern people?
Modern way of living, modern lifestyle. Do they trigger
um
people?
I think they trigger people who are steadfast in their ways, like you. Like, I definitely think modern people trigger you. But I think, mm,
Like feminists, do you think a feminist trigger men and women? Do you think of male feminists, female feminists, male feminists? Do they trigger people today?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So I don't think they trigger people
Feminists
today.
or modern people?
Yeah, there you go. Modern people. I don't think they trigger them.
No,
Like I don't think they have any type of feeling or emotion towards them because they believe that that's the natural way. It's regular.
yeah.
It's where we are today. Women are this way today. So it's not triggering. Like it's kind of like a blind eye. Like you walk past, you don't look twice.
So
You walk past, you seen it, you keep going.
you don't think that feminists trigger people in a good or a
Modern,
bad way?
no.
Hmm.
Mm-mm. Like I said, most people today in this era, we're in this era, but we have old souls, right? So most people in today's era but have old souls, it's triggering for them. It's triggering for them, one, and it's triggering for them in a negative way.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So it does something to them. Like they'll look and then wait a minute, they'll look again. The regular modern people, like zombie type, souls are dead. Like they look at it, they keep going. That's regular shit. Okay, you see that every day.
Oh, like sheeples.
Yeah, it's regular for them. So it's not triggering. You know, same thing with the male feminists. So men like me will be triggered by them. Really? That's not how I was raised to think what a man does.
Hmm.
Like you would let that happen? Like sorry, like what? Like what's going on with him? Like something's up with him. Like why does he do that?
Can I
You
ask you a
know?
question? What triggers you most? Feminist men or masculine women?
It's a good one.
I got-
Um damn. You think they both trigger me?
Yeah.
Okay. So what triggers me more?
Hold up. How did you switch it around and ask me about you? You see this, right? Oh,
Okay.
Mr. Discipline.
Okay, so they trigger me, but they don't trigger me equally.
No, that's what I'm saying. Which one does it more?
Um
Let's start putting best people. Who got money? Who got money on the table? Who's
the
choosing
male
what?
feminists trigger me more.
Mm,
Do you know why?
because that's not what a man is supposed to be.
Expound. It's just
Because
a basic answer you're giving. So expound.
because for you, a man is not supposed to. They're supposed to. I don't know. You tell us why.
Okay.
I just know that they do.
Okay, so the male feminist triggers me more than the masculine woman is because yeah, part of that is right. That's not what a man's supposed to be, right? Um, two, it's triggering because I'm looking at that man as like, damn, he's so fake.
Mm,
That's why it's triggering me. It's building emotion. Like I'm getting emotional.
like resentment.
Yeah, I'm getting emotional. Like there's some anger there.
Mm.
Like, oh, look at this guy, con artist. Like, that's
Liar.
what I'm thinking in my mind. Oh, he's trying to get the box.
Mm.
Because when he's with his boys, let me see if he's bringing the same energy. Probably different.
So you don't like that they're lying. They have a
So,
mask on.
yes, because that's what I believe the male feminist is doing.
Mm.
He's not bringing all that even with his boys. I guarantee you, 100% not. So, with the masculine woman, she's like a child. I see. She's like a child. Like, it's like that child who's just misguided. Like, baby, you never met me. If you still bring that same energy with me, then it's what it is. I'll give you your props. But you never met me. I dated masculine women. They transitioned. Doesn't necessarily mean they stuck around, but I got them to do that where regular guys will not.
Mm.
So that's why it's like, ooh, I don't. You see? Because I'm talking from experience too.
Mhm.
When you meet a man, because you never had a man before, which is why you're like that still, When you meet a man, she's gonna transition. May not be permanent. She might have her triggers. She gets set back and all that other stuff, but she'll transition. The male feminist, why is he doing that? Because at the end of the day, this is why I say it's fake. You know he gonna bring some dominance in other situations. Come on, boo, we playing basketball. You ain't bringing male feminism in here. Yo, we about to fix some shit. God forbid a burglar comes in. Like, yo, you're not bringing this shit in every aspect. That's why I told you, with the woman, he faking. He's not keeping his masculinity there, but he's bringing masculinity. We got a show like this coming up. He's bringing that masculinity in other aspects. So is masculinity still there? And he's just masking it? Because that would mean he would not do that. He would do that. He would bring that in every circumstance with every gender and all of that. If you bring in that, if I'm assertive to a woman, I'm gonna do it to men. Like men that come on here, I don't just let them slide. Pick
That's
one.
Yep.
Dude, I hold them accountable too. So I'm able to stay the same way with both genders. I could walk into a different room, I'm still the same.
That's true.
Those male feminists are fake, see? Because they're not doing that with everybody. They're showing you the real with the boys and other circumstances, their job, basketball, whatever, fixing shit, whatever. But with the women, they're like, oh, yeah, equality and toning it down. Yeah, you could do whatever you want to do. Fix the tire, too. Then, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's, uplift power. You could hold prominent positions. Yeah, you could lead, too. But they're not saying that with their boys. They know for sure. With some shit, nah, man, they just don't let my lady hear that. There'll be problems in the house. Just don't let my lady hear that. You see, so that's why it's more triggering for me, because I'm kind of just looking at it like, damn, you say you gangster, but mad niggas know about you. You mad loud in these streets. You doing this, you doing that. What you think, you John Gotti? You fucking it up for everybody. Like, shit move in silence. What are you doing? Like, it's resentment there because it's like, you're supposed to be a man.
You're not acting.
Like, you're faking. The woman, at least, she's not faking because she's that due to trauma. That's why I say she like the child that's misguided. The daddy comes around, and what does the daddy do with the child? Puts them on the right track. If he's healthy and leading.
I was gonna say spank them.
You know, so in a way, like the woman is misguided, so it's not as triggering for me because I show up as a man. With that, the male feminist, it's like they're part of enabling that, which is why the woman is in her masculine. Goes back full circle.
So he's just making it harder for like guys
he's
like
reinforcing that trauma.
Okay.
He's not healing presence. The masculine man is healing presence. God is in him. The male feminist, God's not in him. He don't even know himself. Probably like that because he listened to the woman. All the shaming and shit and the toxic terms and all that. You're insecure made him transition. You see what I'm saying? So he's more triggering than her.
Okay.
Because with her, at least I know that's not a lot of her fault. You know what I'm saying? And it's like most of the time, those women don't even have that leadership to help them identify. I can't like agree with a lot of guys how they talk today because shit don't work with me. So the masculine woman comes here, I put things on the table, I approach like a masculine man. She's going to get out of that. Now, like I said earlier, it might not be consistent, but she's gonna get out of that versus dealing with 10 guys that she was never able to. Because they saw that, they were just lazy about it, maybe some intimidated, and they just let it rock.
Like
the way me, I'm like, no. You're not rocking like that here. You want to be here? There's going to be adjustments a lot on your side. Do you want to be here or not? Because if you do, then your first lesson, starts today. You're going to learn today on how to please me and be feminine. And then eventually, she feeling me, she going to do that. Why can't she do that with those other guys? You see? That's why it's not of a trigger, because it's easy for me to do it. All that bark, you bark and no bite. That's what you are. All bark and no bite, because when you meet a real one, you're going to shut the fuck up. That's what it is. You ain't gonna talk to me because I exude daddy and granddaddy energy. And you would never talk to your daddy crazy or do shit crazy to him. Because you see authority there. The woman's able to remain in her masculine because she date men that she don't see authority in. That's reinforcing her trauma. She stays in the hole, never climbs out. So it's not as triggering because that could be resolved. The other dude, why is he doing that?
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. And a lot of what he's doing is predominantly to get the box from the woman. So the woman's the cornerstone. It don't mean he want to do that for himself, really. You see, that's why it's phony. It's like a simp. Yeah. Pretty much. Like, nobody respects a simp. And that's how I look at him. Damn, why are you simping, bro? This shit is embarrassing. So all of us men, why are you simping? That's why it's more of a, triggering sense in that regard. Okay. Food, sense, activities, those are triggers. Could be good or bad ones. So how do you overcome the bad triggers?
Assuming that this person has done work where they kind of are learning themselves now, how do you heal those triggers? Like I stated before, try therapy, try medicine, try meditation, work out, do yoga. Even if you don't want to talk to a therapist, you can do audio, like voice journal. I do that now. I used to write, write in my journals. Now I do audio because I like to play it back and hear myself. Next, I'm going to do video so I can watch that. But those are really great things to do because you could also, especially if you're going through something in the moment and you're talking it through, afterwards, if you go back, your mind works in such a way that you're going to find the answers within yourself watching or listening to yourself back. So many times, when you're talking, you're giving yourself the answer if you're paying attention, which it's hard because a lot of people, and we've said this so many times on the show, they don't even realize that they have something that they have to work on. That's the trick, is getting past that point. And once you do figure out, damn, maybe it's not everybody else, maybe I have some stuff that I have to work on. That's the hard part, is getting people to realize that little teeny part is the biggest thing to do.
Yeah, so how to overcome bad triggers. I mentioned some earlier. Let's say the one you just asked me, the male feminist. How do I overcome that? I'm never going to, but I can control my emotions by not being friends with those type of guys, not associating myself with those type of guys, not debating with those type of guys because it's gonna be like debating with a female, also not, absorbing whatever those guys are doing. You know what I'm saying? That's how I could overcome it. It's always gonna be a trigger, but that's how I could overcome it, where it's not on my mind all day. Yeah. Affecting my life. Shit, this shit affecting your money now. Because you thinking about this shit. How can I change these men? Like, no. Part of also of overcoming is accepting it. You know what I'm saying? Accepting it. Most of those males are incorrigible. Yep. They're incorrigible. You know what I'm saying? Because they have a goal, the appeasement of the woman. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a goal there why they're doing that. Predominantly it is that. Because you look at ancestry, right? Like, that's not how your ancestors felt. So you still have nature in you that you're fighting your ancestry. Yep. You see? Do you think it's a contradiction for hardcore feminists to desire an alpha or masculine man?
Do I think it's contradictory? If a hardcore feminist, yes,
Why?
because she's the one. I mean, if she's hardcore, a feminist they believe. No, that's misandry, right? When they hate men,
Mm-hmm.
but they believe that women are better. Feminists?
Maybe the modern
Are you talking about the modern?
hardcore feminist. Yeah, so a hardcore female feminist is advocating for equality, especially pertaining to the woman. Like hardcore, she's hardcore in everything. That movie, why women not boss? The thing in relationship, like everything, she's hardcore with it.
So if she's bitching about it and making a big issue of it,
Mhm.
then why not? Why do you want an alpha man? Why don't you go with a beta guy
So
or a
you
more
be-
feminine man?
so you believe it's contradiction? It's a
Yes.
contradiction.
Yes.
Yes, technically, it's a contradiction what she stands for. Biblically, biologically, nature. Remember, nature versus nurture, right? Learn behavior, which is why this is reason she's this, learn behavior. Nature, she will desire that. Because if the woman is a hardcore feminist, she out there, she loud, she's strong. It's just nature for a strong woman to want her men stronger.
Mm.
Because you get with the weaker or equal, you run them, maybe for ego, but eventually you want to get into your nature. DNA, biology always wins. It wins a debate. You can't debate it. So if the feminist is still feminist female, because there's male feminist, the feminist female is still a female.
At the end of the day.
I walk into the room, god damn, why am I getting wet? I don't get turned on by men like that. I dominate them. Why is he? What's it about him? What is it about him? Aura. What is it about him? She don't know. Her brain all fucked up. She don't get it. I get it. She getting back into her DNA. Divine masculine is exuding and dominating the whole room. She getting back into her DNA. It's touching her. It's like a what do you call it? Yeah, and you smell it.
Like
pheromones. So now it's like, why am I getting turned on by him? I don't know. I dominate dudes. They don't turn me on like that. Unless it's like some money or some shit, but damn, he look good. Why he look good?
All of a sudden she's checking herself in the mirror?
Yeah, because of nature. Biology is what she can't fight. The female feminist is out of her nature. So technically, it is a contradiction because she's going out there saying what she's stating, whatever is learned behavior, doing things on a 24/7 basis. But spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, she turned on by this guy. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's a contradiction because of what she represents. But it's just natural for her to
feel that way
and want him. Yeah. Let's see. What's more triggering for you? Man going 50-50 on the first date? Sex on the first date? Or having to decide where to go on the first date?
Having to decide where to go on the first date.
Okay. So, so triggering in a positive or negative way?
Negative. I don't want
to. Okay. So, what's more triggering for me? Going 50-50 on the first date, sex on the first date, or having to decide where to go on the first date?
Not that one for you. I'm definitely saying not that one.
Yeah. Sex on the first date's triggering, but fucking going 50-50 on the first date's triggering. Finding out where to go eat is triggering.
Not for you.
So all of these are triggering. There would never be no having to decide where to go eat. That's why it's triggering. I'm already stating that. So if we're both indecisive, that's triggering for me.
But this is what I'm saying. We're talking about you specifically. You're not. You know what I'm saying? You're the one that's gonna make that decision.
Yeah, but we're stating this as like, let's say you don't know me. right? So
Yeah.
they're both like having an issue where to go,
Okay.
right? Or matter of fact, I'm looking on the outside. I'm looking at somebody. What's more, if you see that male feminist doing that, they're both indecisive. Okay, that's triggering. They had sex on the first date. That's triggering. They go 50-50 on the first date. That's triggering. Now it's not me making it subjective. I'm looking on the outside. What's more triggering for me? Fuck. I don't like none of them. But
None of
if I
them.
have to pick sex on the first date, like, I don't like any of them. I don't feel like the man should go 50-50. I don't feel like he should go 50-50, especially on the first date, because that is setting the tone. You're showing you're going to be responsible, invested here, you're serious or not, right? Sex on the first date, triggering, I'll talk about why. And indecisiveness, damn. I mean, the woman, that's right indication of he's indecisive. Like, run. And dude, why are you? Now, are you interested in her or not? If you're interested, it should be quick. So sex on the first date is triggering because it's like, damn, I don't know you like that. Damn, do you do this often? Damn, like, shit was supposed to be a build-up. I mean, I got to Z before A, even. Thought we were going to go A, B, C, D to Z. But damn, I got to Z before A. So what's more to work for, really? Do I still respect you?
No.
Probably not. So it's a trigger. Seeing it, hearing about it, it's a trigger if it happened to me. Like, I never had sex on the first date.
Okay.
So that's more of a trigger for me than the others. They're all triggering in a negative way. But the sex on the first date is more. There's no real build-up. Cause you gotta understand, right? Let me be technical. I talked to her for 2 months, or I talked to her for 2 months, and those 2 months we were seeing each other. So we wasn't really dating. Like, we didn't really go on a official first date, but we hung out for 5 minutes, 10 minutes here, talked over the phone and stuff like that, and then it happens. No, let me be technical. Because, that could be different.
Yeah, that's totally different though.
I'm talking about you met her yesterday
Or at the club?
at the club, and then the next day. Like, that's the first encounter of y'all ever being around each other outside of that. Whether maybe you met at Barnes and Noble, like you said, at the club, like that right there. So that is what I'm looking at it as. Plus, I date for a purpose, so it's kind of like, it would be weird. And at the end of the day, right? Even though women control access to sex, I've controlled a lot of that. I've never had women make me wait. I've always had to say, we're going to wait. You see what I'm saying? So in a way, it's like, if I meet a woman that is trying to fuck on the first date with me, a lot of people are gonna think I'm faking, or it's unbelievable to hear this. I'm gonna be skeptical about her. I'm gonna be thinking she does this often.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna respect her because she don't even know her part of her value is that.
Yep.
She's not gonna know. Like, I understand I'm turning her on, but damn, she moving like a nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't date niggas. I'm heterosexual, not non-heterosexual. I like pussy, not dick. Pause. So it's gonna be weird. Like, I'm dating a nigga. Like, she ravaging and shit like that, high sex job and shit like a nigga. Oh man, like, it's a turn off. So I'm looking at all those aspects. Like, shit, what if I was a serial killer? Like, she don't care about that. What if she don't trying to get to know me like that shit? Like, she quit to, what happens after that? Number one thought is gonna be, does she do this often?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna think I'm special. I don't normally do this. Yes, you normally do this. I'm not gonna think I'm special.
Yeah.
I'm not, wow, she really did it. No, I'm gonna, because if you never did something it's gonna make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna be bad at it at first. But if you're constantly doing it, it's like let's say, damn, she taking her panties. Wait, her bra match her panties. Like, what? Oh, she was prepared for this. Oh shit. Okay, like she know what to do. She's already in the position. I'm like, what? How did she know that? We never talked about shit inside the bedroom. She does this shit often. Cause I'm not just gonna think like I'm special.
Right.
She's studying me that hard.
Right.
You see, so it's triggering for me in the act, and it's triggering, that person is triggering.
Well, how do you think people should try to heal themselves? Like, what can they do to fix their triggers?
First of all, you got to go back in time. And by doing that is you either do it yourself or you go to therapy, because a professional can make you identify things. The therapist, whether it's a male or a female, is going to be sitting there with a pen and paper. And they're going to get to the core of your problem. And where you think they're going to start?
At the childhood.
Yeah.
It's always
So
there.
how did you grow up? Did you have both parents? How did your parents treat you? You see what I'm saying? They're going to get into that because that is part of their job. They got to get to the core, because as a child, what you see growing up is how you view the world.
Yeah, it's the formative years.
Yeah. So knowing your childhood, what's going to help is if you don't want to do the shadow work yourself, because you got to do the shadow work. You got to see this stuff you don't like. You want to fix it. If you don't, you get a professional to do it.
Yeah.
So if you get the professional to do it, you're now being vulnerable with the professional.
Hopefully.
Because most of the time when we have these triggers and we're not able to identify, we're not vulnerable. That's why we're very stoic. We're very, we don't talk about our feelings. We don't talk about what's on our mind. We retain a lot of things, restrict a lot of things. Like the woman being in her masculine does that. She doesn't share her feelings. She's stuck. She's hard like a rock. And that stems from trauma.
Yeah.
You know, because the feminine is naturally vulnerable. So when the feminine can't be, it's the same thing. Same thing with the men. Like the man is not vulnerable like as much as emotional, but a masculine man don't have a problem talking about how he feel, especially to his partner, what he wants you to do and how to please him. The man that retains that is unhealed. It's pretty easy for him to do that with his partner if he's trying to build. So that's number one, going to therapy or identifying yourself, but you got to go to the childhood. Number two, the therapist is going to ask you, well, what's your relationship with your parents? How was that? Because they know in psychology, they know that the mom or the dad, whether it's opposite sex, whatever, son to the mom, daughter to the dad, that's your first love prior to going out. You know?
Yeah.
So they're going to see that relationship. How's that relationship? And then they might give you certain activities to do to help with those traumas. So exercising, eating right, you know, discipline, accountability. Because when you're healing, you're taking accountability of situations that happen, things that you did. Oh, I was really dumb back then. I did this. I put myself in these situations. That's part of healing, not the blame game.
Yeah. Oh.
You know, that's part of healing. So that's how you fix those unresolved traumas. You got to identify those triggers, good and bad. But healing from those unresolved traumas is building an action plan.
Oh, okay. I like
Building
that.
an action plan on a weekly basis, daily basis, monthly basis to help with those situations. Because if you don't heal from these things, if you don't identify these things, you can't elevate in anything you do. You're stagnant.
Yep.
So when you get in a relationship, you're stagnant there. You're not able to grow. You can't communicate well. You can't articulate your feelings. You don't even know how you feel.
Yeah.
I felt different yesterday. You don't know your personality trait. You don't know if you're alpha or beta. You don't know if you're dominant, submissive. You don't know what you like in bed. You don't know what arouses you, what doesn't arouse you. You don't know what your hard limits. You don't know what your soft limits are. You don't know what your boundaries are.
Yeah.
So now, when you identify and you heal, you start to build self-care, self-love, self-discipline. And then that is into a big bubble of boundaries.
Mm.
So now when you have those boundaries, it's helping you sustain that healing.
Mm. That's true. And so many people don't know how to put their bound. We talked about this on another show that we had, a past one. Where so many people don't know how to or what even boundaries to put up because they've never done it before. And now when it's imperative for them, I also feel that people who don't do those things, they're stuck in a loop
Mm,
because they never learned the lesson or they never heal from that specific thing. So you're going around in a circle until you break that loop.
hmm Yeah, I see a bullet here. I don't know if you read it. As hard as it is, do not avoid your feelings. All that does is push them down until the next trigger.
Mm. That's
Yes.
true.
So, listen, like, you like when you're able to do the shadow work,
Mm. That's hard.
you got no fear.
Yeah.
It's like a man or woman who went through fire. It didn't kill me, so I'm stronger.
Mm-hmm.
You have no fear. So there's not gonna be of, oh, this makes me shy to talk about my sexual desires. It doesn't make me shy to talk about how I like to be present in the dynamic. It doesn't make me shy to talk about these are my boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you love yourself. When you do, there's no scarcity there. Oh, I'm gonna lose her if I tell her I don't really like the way she's dressed.
Mm.
I'm gonna lose her.
Yeah.
You know, oh, I'm gonna lose him if I retain how I really feel. I'm not into him like that. The idea of him, masculine man probably, the idea, because I never had that before. I'm not into him like that because all my years I dated beta.
Mm.
Kind of had opportunities for the alpha, but I dated beta, and I was there for a long time. Psychologically, that means that's what you're into. That's your type.
Mm.
That means that you were like, even if you thought you wasn't present there, you didn't leave,
That's true.
right? Like, if I dated traditional women who are always submissive to me most of my life, don't you think that that's my type?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I tell you I've been there the longest and it makes me happy, don't you think that's my type? You think because we're in a different era, I'm gonna be like, well, I'm really feeling her. She not like that at all. Let me try it. You think that's gonna be positive or epic failure?
I think it's gonna be an epic failure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be an epic failure. So,
Definitely.
the way I look at it is like, if you know your triggers, you're able to navigate into this game called life,
Yeah. You're unstoppable.
very well.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is relationship, because like I said, we all want companionship or companions,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because that's part of why we're here.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm
of
saying?
course.
That's part of why we're here on earth. And to identify, to heal, um to go back to how our ancestors were.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
definitely.
saying? Finding our purpose. We all have a specific purpose. Um but universally, like, the woman's purpose is the same as other women's purpose, and the man's purpose is the same as other men's purpose. Now, they have special purposes,
Mm-hmm.
but universally, like biology, science, their purposes are the same.
Yeah. You said something about doing the shadow work, and I think that well, people who I feel are on their way, Like they know they like that specific point I said. Once you get to that point, then it's so once you get to that point, now you got to see things that you don't like about yourself. That's part of the shadow work, and it's let me tell you, when you're faced with your own self and you have to say, wow, everything I ever thought on a specific thing is completely wrong. It takes a lot of courage to admit your way of thinking was incorrect. And then it takes a little bit more courage to say, all right, let me learn the right way. But that's what you have to do. That is part of the shadow work. And there's people, like I said, who pass that first threshold, who get to that point and then say, no, it's too hard. I don't want to know the negative parts about me. I don't want to see things that other people don't like. I don't want to not like it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I think it's
Yeah,
important though.
yeah. Once you do the work, you start to like you start to elevate in a way that you could see divinity.
Mm.
Like even this is both men and women. They talk about women intuition, but men have it
Yeah,
because
definitely.
they're now in that space,
It's like a sixth sense.
divinity.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're getting divine assistance. They're able to get those answers from higher powers.
Mm.
They're able to see things others can't see. Things don't fly over their head. Um, their healing energy. Um, you know, and they start to build certain principles within themselves. See, the
Mm.
unhealed men and women don't have those principles and certain rules, which are boundaries. But those people that end up being healed end up having those
Mm-hmm.
principles, those boundaries, those rules, specifically for them.
Exactly.
And that's what builds that love. Like a lot of people don't love themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. So when you go through all these traumas, right, subconsciously, you start to like downplay yourself,
Mm-hmm.
your existence. You know what I'm saying? You don't talk power into you.
Mm-hmm. And so
You don't
down.
do things that is conducive to that as well. You just settle for what you feel like you could get in life, not what you feel like you deserve. Some people might say, "Oh, I deserve this." No, you even know you don't.
Mm. But there are people who,
It's just good to say.
yeah, there's people like how you said though that don't even like themselves, so they feel that they don't deserve better than what they got right now. That's what they
Yeah.
deserve. They deserve the shittiest, shitty person that they can find.
Mm-hmm. Or situation,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But once you have that healing and you get to that divine entity, you know, things for you start to open up
Mm-hmm.
a lot, and it's like now you can like we're never gonna really be completely healed. It's just a
I
constant
agree.
work,
Yep.
right? But when you get in a relationship, this is the biggest test. And the way you are healed in a relationship or the way you could work on that has to begin with what you both are willing to put on the table in the beginning. There's too much of, and I hear this with modern all the time because traditional is different. There's too much of the going with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, the woman wants something, but she's too scared to say that's what she really wants. The man wants something, but they're too scared. There's literally women out there who have done their dirt for years, now become single mothers, and they're saying, I'm gonna get a husband. I'm gonna get a husband. They're not saying I'm gonna be a wife. I wanna be a wife to a husband. I'm gonna get a husband one day. You're gonna
Mm.
see, what makes you so special about that when you had those opportunities back in the days and you know now like what's different now
Mm.
because you get into a fucking age where you feel like damn now I know my worth, now I'm not gonna have these one night stands, now I'm not gonna do this or do that.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like it comes down to that, Like, why are dudes nowadays talking about feminine women and submissive?
Yeah,
Come on, man. I've been setting the trend. Check me out.
that's true.
I wasn't doing something years ago and then now I'm talking about what everybody else is.
That's true.
I set the staple, probably. This is
Definitely.
my lifestyle, for
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
Y'all getting that term from my lifestyle and the people that live that as well. Traditional.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get submissive in modern. You're not gonna get dominant and traditional in modern.
That's true.
So this is the healing journey. Be real with yourself. Men and women, be real with yourself. Oh, I deserve a husband. I'm gonna get a husband. Are you doing things on a daily basis that's conducive with that? You're
Mm-hmm.
saying you into God too. Are you doing things on a daily basis that's conducive to that? Yeah, we not all perfect or whatever. Just because you smoke weed don't mean you're not religious, and you could do all that stuff still.
Weeds from the earth.
Religious people go to clubs and stuff too dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But yo, your morals though, that is godly.
Yes.
Your principles, that is godly. Do you have a code? Because that is godly
Yeah. I
for
agree.
both men and women.
Yeah.
So it's like you gotta understand that God, the ancestors, could read your thoughts,
Your
even if you think
energy.
you're lying to everybody. Do you really feel like you deserve this? It sounds nice. You don't want to sound like, oh, I'm gonna be a baby mama forever. That don't sound too good. But you don't really want to be a wife. You don't really want to be married. You don't. You don't live that life. Your Instagram ain't even conducive to that either. Shit,
Yeah.
shit, mad crazy, dirty, all over the place. I'm confused.
It could be.
I'm
It could be.
confused because you trying to be cuffed, but you doing all shit that prostitutes doing. I'm confused.
It could be all her girls got boyfriends now, and now she wants it. It
Yeah,
could be all her peoples, have gotten married last year.
yeah.
Now they're having babies.
Why do you want the woman that's gonna be loyal now and appreciate you and be submissive and feminine
Mm.
and ride or die and support? But back in the days when you had that, you didn't know how to train them. You didn't know how to talk. You didn't have them be that way with you before. What both men and women that are asking these things, you didn't have training for them already. What makes you think if God snaps his fingers and it's in front of you, that's the opportunity? You what makes you think you're gonna receive that?
Mm.
You might run away.
You might fumble it.
Fear, this, fumble it. You
Yeah.
might abuse it. You might abuse the submission. You don't know how to cherish it because you never had it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how to treat the good men because you never dated those types.
Yeah. True.
You see, so we gotta be real. And if we're saying we want great things, part of it is starting with the healing.
I agree.
That's what it begins with. You know? And you gotta be disciplined because God's gonna throw things in your way
To
to
test you.
tempt you. So
Yeah.
you gotta be disciplined. That's the major component here.
Mhm.
Discipline, accountability. If you have discipline, you're gonna have accountability. That's the major component.
Yeah.
Discipline. So most people just fall back into it due to trigger. The person was sober for years. They go to the trigger, maybe they lose a relative or whatever it is. Are you going back?
Mm.
Cause you're almost OD'd. You was like minutes away from not being on the earth. Somebody
Yeah.
didn't come into the room or whatever it is, take you to the hospital.
Yeah.
Are you gonna go back to that? There will be triggers. It goes back to what I was saying earlier, discipline
Always. Yeah.
to help you build that shield.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it comes down to. It comes down to discipline. When you
I
have
agree.
discipline, you just incorporate these things now. Now you're a woman of your word. Now you're a man of your word. Now you have certain principles. Now you have certain morals, values.
Mm-hmm.
I value myself. Now certain things I won't subject myself to because I know that's going to be a trigger
Yeah.
in a bad way. And it's going to take me overboard. Let me avoid that. Let
Mm-hmm.
me avoid these people. Let me not go to that area. Let me not do this. Let me avoid that substance.
You've heard that saying, once you see something, it's hard to go back to not seeing it. Like I feel like people who are you never heard that saying?
What is that? A woman like a big dick?
No. Oh my lord. Where did that come from?
You can't go back to
It's more like
nothing.
once you're aware of something, once you see the truth for what it is, it's hard to, to be blinded by it.
So you mean for men and women? Yeah.
Yeah. No, like once you start healing yourself, once you start seeing things, it's hard to go back to how you used to be.
Yeah. That's that intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Facts. Like, damn, sports are rigged. Shay, you can't fool me now.
Mm-hmm.
I
Exactly.
seen that shit back in 2007. Back in 2008. I seen that. I suspected, but then I started seeing interviews of old players and old referees talking about it.
I was
So
about
what? I'm not crazy now.
Yep.
Oh, I can never go back. That's what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right.
Definitely.
You're right. And that's part of the healing.
Mhm.
Not living in a fairy tale world. No, that ain't true. That ain't true.
Some people don't want to. I'm
Yeah.
gonna pretend I didn't see it.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yep. All right.
Damn, this was a good topic too.
Yeah, all our shows are great. You got two of the best, you know? Top 5 podcasts. I mean, this should be on your playlist.
Yeah, why isn't it, people? Come on. You see
It
the
is.
merch? We do
is.
that.
It
He
is.
designed all that.
It is. It is on a lot of people's playlists.
That's right. Let's
We
keep it
got
there.
fans that we don't know of. Celebrities listen to us on the
Mhm.
low. Probably buy my books or
Mhm.
reading on the low in the bathroom. She reading in the bathroom while she taking a deuce.
Oh my
Like, ooh, the seduction of discipline? Oh shit, this guy talking some work.
No,
Okay.
they got it
And
on
she
their
hide it.
phone. They got it
And
on
she
their phone
hides
so
it
that
when
they
she
could
get
read it
back.
wherever. On the plane, on the train, in the car with her man driving.
Yeah, you don't know who's
And we
listening.
read it out loud.
You don't know who's
That's
listening. You
true.
don't know who's watching.
That's very true.
You know who you could be an inspiration for. Who's
16
trying to
seasons.
commit suicide? You save them.
Yeah, that's
Who
true.
don't know how to go about it? They know they have some type of issue. They know they get into a habit
Mhm.
constantly. They know they want to keep going back to that relationship that's not conducive to their health. It's like, how do I?
We might trigger them.
know.
They might listen to the show. Something you say might trigger them to do the right thing.
Yeah, that's what
You
I'm
see?
talking about.
You see how I tied it all in?
Yeah.
That's the show, people. Thanks for coming. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
So once again, ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned into one of the most raw, uncut, unapologetic, real, no holds barred, passionate, and intense, colossal This Been Podcast. Peace.